morning and welcome to today's program, The Roundtable. My name is Issa Nu. Today we are going to be looking at the ease of doing business in Nigeria. And as you know, before now, there have been so many issues with the rate at which we are having the inflation status presently in the country. But then you also know that before now, there has been a major issue between Ukraine and Russia, and that has also caused to the high rate of purchasing power in the country. And also you also look at the pending challenges between Taiwan and then that of China. And we hope that it doesn't escalate beyond that particular point that it is. Because if it does, before now you definitely have heard of the cost of bread, how it has so higher. And then if we can be getting wheat from Russia or Ukraine, and then we are having challenges with the cost of flour in the market, definitely if Taiwan and China go into a major crisis, you also have challenges with corn and rice, where we sometimes get some of our imports from. So these are the critical issues we have to look at. So how easy it is, or how easy is it for us to do business in Nigeria? And then you also know that we have entrepreneurs, we have agriculture, we have young farmers who have delved into business in Nigeria, and this is really affecting the cost of doing business. If you don't have the capital to start business, it becomes very difficult for you to even go into it. And even if you have the capital to start the business, if you don't have the sustainability power, how will you proceed with it? If you go to the market now, maybe if you want to get a loaf of bread, definitely you look at the cost of buying, the lowest for now will be definitely 700 down to 1,000 naira. This was not what it was before now. And if this continues, definitely so many people are going to be out of business. And in doing business, you need capital to sustain that business. So when you look at all these issues, you definitely know that, yes, we are having pending, we're having so much challenges that we need government to come in, address some of these issues. We need the private sector to come in, address some of it. But then the issue still lies on the necessity to have industries that are functioning to higher capacity. So these are the critical issues that we'll be looking at. And then we'll definitely be, when our guests come in, she'll be discussing on this issue. So as you know now, Nigeria is currently ranked 131 out of 190 countries in the ease of doing business, according to the report of 2020. And then this places the country not in a good light in the ease of doing business in comparative terms with other countries. Interestingly, another report also puts the minimum paid in capital required to do business in Nigeria at 0.00%. So it means even with little, you can kick off a business. But will that sustain it with the present case of inflation we have in the country? So this suggests that it can take next to nothing in terms of capital to start a business. Thus, putting the country in the light that is not in the best of manner. So this suggests that when you look at other issues, when you look across the globe, you definitely know that there are so many issues across other sub-Saharan African countries that are facing so much of this challenge. So the report failed to identify the indices that reflect the peculiar nature of starting a business in Nigeria as a growing concern. Because more importantly, identifying the costs associated with supplying goods and services that is likely to be incurred in the running of a business is paramount. And when inflation is in the news, it's often coupled with confusion and speculation. So everyone understands that inflation means rising prices. However, that is where the clarity about inflation usually ends. While those rising prices are a national average, the way inflation affects an individual business depends on its unique economic circumstance. What industry it is in as of that point, how its particular costs are rising or falling. So the productivity of our workforce is also something we have to look at. And then the nature of supply chain, the level and type of its depth, and so on. So as a result, generalized inflation advice for small business can seem confusing and contradictory. But knowing how to really prepare and adapt business to inflationary trends can be a boon. And smart choices can help a business not only weather inflation, but come through it stronger. So today we will be discussing more on the business environment, how easy it is for us to do business. And we'll be looking more on the challenges of doing the business, the impact of inflation with our guest, hopefully when she arrives in the studio. But then we'll definitely put up the phone line so that you can all reach out to us on what are the present challenges you are facing in doing business in your local area, and how have you been able to maintain the standard of the goods and services you render to people. So let's go on this break while we wait for Nana Aisha Tanko to be in the studio. As I did say, we are going to put up the phone line so that you can tell us your experience of doing business and the cost of goods and services.
Mr. President, last Saturday, the country which I have the honor to represent, the Federation of Nigeria, became independent and assumed the rights and the responsibilities of a sovereign state. Today, Nigeria has been admitted into the United Nations organization and assumes still more responsibilities. I wish to make our position plain beyond any matter of doubt as regards the African continent. We in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent. We in Nigeria are a populous country. There are about 40 million of us, and our territory is relatively large. We are willing to learn before we rush into the field of international politics. But we are totally unwilling to be diverted from the ideals which we think true. That is the reason, Mr. President, why we in Nigeria shall not be found to align ourselves as a matter of routine with any particular bloc. Indeed, I hate the very idea of blocs existing at all in the United Nations. It seems to me to be a contradiction in terms. When we hear the world crying out for peace, we may receive the inspiration to deal with these intractable problems and be able really to devote all our resources to the advancement of mankind by applying those eternal truths which will inevitably persist long after we ourselves are utterly forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.
Welcome back, and while we still wait for our guest to be in the studio, we'll definitely put up the phone line so that you can also join the conversation, telling us your experiences and how we can be able to shuttle this issue of inflation. When you look at the cost of doing business in Nigeria, definitely based on the kind of business you want to do, will determine the investment you need to have for the business to be able to survive. And when you have issues that has to do with supplies and demand, definitely sustaining such business will need more of capital. And then when you have more capital on ground, you definitely have the ability to sustain that business. And if you can sustain the business for a while, with time, definitely the business will kick off. But then there are certain business that if you invest so much in and you are not getting the return as expected, you lose interest in the business. And in losing interest in that business will definitely make other people also to lose their jobs. And losing the job definitely will have great economic impact in the society, because everybody at the end of the day will say it's government. But then the private sector have also been doing well. And we also understand that MSMEs are also doing well. But then with this rising cost of doing business, with this rising cost of goods and services, how then do we sustain the tempo? That is the question we're asking this morning, and we expect you to call, and the number to call is 090-5740-8127. I'll take that again, 090-5740-8127. So that's the number to call. You call, stating your name, your location, and then you go ahead with your submission on our topic of discussion, doing business in Nigeria. How are you coping with the current economic situation when it has to do with the rise of goods and services in the market? So those are the issues. So now when you look at that other aspect of it also that has to do with investment coming in, people can only invest when the business environment definitely is okay or is profitable for them. Nobody wants to come and invest in a place where the business environment is not attractive. The issue of security is there. The issue of inflation is there. The issue of credit loan is also there. But then, let us get this call. Hello, good morning. Okay, we lost it. The number to call still is 090-5740-8127. 090-5740-8127. So you also state your name and your location while you call, and then move far away from your TV or radio set. So these are the issues. So, and then you also look at our situation here in Nigeria. It's a bit different, because now, where are the manufacturers? Where are the industries that employ so much of our laborers or so much of Nigerians? But then let us get this call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Nu. My name is Peter Simon.
Okay, thank you, Peter Simon.
I'm calling you from Lugbe.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
You can go ahead with your submission.
Hello.
I'm listening, please. You can go ahead with your submission. Okay, please, Peter Simon, you can still do it better by calling again. The number still to call is 090-5740-8127. So if you look at Nigeria as a whole, the question that is there is, do we have the favorable environment? That's one aspect of it. Yes, if we have it, we have the population. But then do we have the industry, the manufacturing industry? Where are they? If you look at Nigeria also, you look at the potential of the Ajaokuta Steel Company. Is it working as expected? So these are the questions that we need to put on the front burner, and then let's get this call again. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, my name is Mr. Andrew.
Okay, thank you. You can go ahead with your submission.
Okay, I'm calling you from Central area this morning.
Okay, thank you so much for calling.
Yes, actually, we are really talking about inflation in the country.
Yes.
This is a very big challenge to this very country, and we're just still thinking the way forward of it. It's not quite a while that I came back from the journey where I traveled to that community. Over the time, when you go there, you see that some of those things that you used to buy at the rate of maybe, for example, 500 naira. Now, as I speak to you, they are selling it ×2 of what we used to buy before. A gallon of 25 liters of oil before is always something like
okay. I think he's having network challenges over there, but there's still, you can make more effort in reaching out to us, because you did say something. The prices of goods and services definitely is on the rise, and you also noted that I think he was trying to raise the issue with regards to the cost of buying palm oil. Okay, and I think it's back.
Sorry,
hello, good
I'm
morning.
Back again. Why I was giving all this breakdown is for me to establish what I really want to contribute on this program.
Okay.
So you now see that all those things, their prices have increased. When you ask the market woman, why are you selling this at the higher rate? The person, the market woman or the farmer will tell you where they went to buy those products before they will pay transport to the market and so on. They have to put in their price or to make their own gain. Number one, when I was trying to ask more details about all this, some of them they are telling me that the fuel increase and where they are transporting their goods from is making them to add 1 naira, 2 naira, or 3 naira to all those things. And because of all this, it's affecting inflation in the country. So if you want to start all this, the price of fuel should drop. When the price of fuel drops, automatically a market woman, a market man, or a farmer, or whoever, either a male or a female, will not start thinking, after all, how much am I paying for these goods to go to the market? He or she has to reduce the price of his commodity. Before you know what is happening, the price will start dropping. And when you see again, when you talk to some people, they will bring the inflation or maybe talk about the increment of maybe the price of the dollar now, the dollar rate now, it's also affecting whatever. And I say, what does a market woman or a farmer who is cultivating tomato in her own or his own local farm to carry it to the market, what does that have to do with the increment or the price of the dollar to a naira now? So some people are just doing something. There is no control. Nobody is controlling the price of things in the market. Whoever that is having any product, anything, any sales in the market, he or she will just do whatever he feels as doing. Not really considering that some people, all is not well with them. When you check also civil servants, all of us and politicians and so on, we are going in the same market to buy the same tomato or yams. A politician who has money will not care to price. After all, he or she has the money. But how much is civil servant salary? All this thing is just causing so many differences of price in the market. There is no price control. Everybody sits on his own shop or his own product and just increase price. If there should have been price control in some of all these products, at least we're supposed to have a stable balance of whoever that we go in the market to buy.
You've really gotten it right, because, but despite that, when you look at what the farmers are doing, and the farmers are doing their best, and we don't have enough in the country. We have a population of over 200 million people in Nigeria, and serving these 200 million is a very difficult one. So the ones we produce, or the ones that is being produced in the farm, is not even enough for the population. And then if you have to import, you will need dollar to buy some of these goods and then get them to Nigeria. Definitely, you know the cost, or you know the challenges between the dollar and the naira now. So when you look at all these issues, like that of the farmer, don't you think the cost of fertilizer also is one of the major issues that
yes, the cost of the fertilizer is there and mechanism. How many farmers do they have tractors? How many farmers could they lay their hands to buy fertilizers in various markets? When you want to go and buy fertilizer, they are telling you the price of fertilizer is high, and some local farmers, when they are farming, can they be able to farm in the large quantity to fit this very country? So they do not have, how many tractors do they have? How many tractors the federal government have put in place for those farmers to be using? At least a farmer who is on farmland, let me just say 200 or 100 hectares, and if the person is using a tractor to cultivate the land, to plant, to harvest, you will not see that he will be talking of 500 or 1,000 hectares of land that he will be able to produce. Now, the sedentary is also one of those problems. If you go to some places like Kaduna, some up north, farmers are paying tax to bandits to allow them to be in their farms, to farm, because they are not also farming to the country, they are also to earn a living. as in to feed themselves, their families, and so on. So at the time you are in your farm, you are fed, you are paying tax. Every day when you want to go to your farm, you start paying tax as if you want to pay tax or you want to take a job to wherever you are going. How should a farmer be paying money for him or her to go to his own farm? After the cultivation of the land, during the time of harvest, you still go and start paying money for you to go to the market, to your own farm. We now see that all those things are asking more inflation of price of things in the market.
Yes, I totally agree with you that all this. And then one other major issue also, I think we have to go full mechanized farming to reduce the cost of goods and services in the country. We are yet to get to that point where we see full mechanization of our farmlands for best productivity across the 6 regions we have in the country. But still, thank you for calling, and we'll definitely go on a very short break, and then when we return, we continue with the conversation.
Thank you.
Nigeria as a free state in 20th century Africa is the need to revive the stature of man in Africa and restore the dignity of man in the world. Nigerians believe passionately in the fundamental human rights. We regard all races of the human family as equal. Under no circumstance shall we accept the idea that the black race is inferior to any other race. I appeal to all our leaders, far and near, to forget the wounds which were inflicted in cause of our internecine altercations. The love of our country should outweigh the love of our petty selves. The enjoyment of individual freedom under the law should mean more to us than our self-centered party programs and manifestos. Common dangers and common enemies alert us on the need for common security. Come and join Abubakar with me, Sadauna, Awolowo, Akitola, Ofarebe, Okpara, Ikoku, Aminu Kano, Ibrahim Imam, and Saka. Let us bind the nation's wound and let us heal the breaches of the past so that in forging our nation, there shall emerge on this continent a hate-free, fear-free, and greed-free people who shall be in the vanguard of a world task force whose assignment is not only to revive the stature of man in Africa, but to restore the dignity of man in the world.
Mr. President, last Saturday, the country which I have the honor to represent, the Federation of Nigeria, became independent and assumed the rights and the responsibilities of a sovereign state. Today, Nigeria has been admitted into the United Nations organization and assumes still more responsibilities. I wish to make our position plain beyond any matter of doubt as regards the African continent. We in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent. We in Nigeria are a populous country. There are about 40 million of us, and our territory is relatively large. We are willing to learn before we rush into the field of international politics. But we are totally unwilling to be diverted from the ideals which we think true. That is the reason, Mr. President, why we in Nigeria shall not be found to align ourselves as a matter of routine with any particular bloc. Indeed, I hate the very idea of blocs existing at all in the United Nations. It seems to me to be a contradiction in terms. When we hear the world crying out for peace, we may receive the inspiration to deal with these intractable problems and be able really to devote all our resources to the advancement of mankind by applying those eternal truths which will inevitably persist long after we ourselves are utterly forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.
Welcome back, and we just returned because we need to take that break. And when we have our guests in the studio, our expectation is that we get the guests while the program commences. But then, at times, the issue of traffic do affect. But then, when you look at the issue we are discussing with the last caller, it raised so many issues with regards to how we get our farmers, how we can get our farmers back on track. Most especially the issue of mechanization. And apart from mechanization, you also know about the issue of seed technology. We need very good seed. With the population of over 200 million, you need enough farmers to be able to produce enough food. And then you also need the best of machines to produce this food. You also need very good seedling and very good extension workers. But then, that is just one aspect of business. There are several kind of business, the processing and the rest of it like that. But now we have our guest in the studio in person of Nana Aisha Tanko. She's a business development expert, and she specializes on food. So I can imagine we'll have them very much of her in the studio and then providing us with enough food to take home today. So good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, thank you.
It's nice having you because I know you've been in this industry for some time now.
Yes, quite some time.
What do you think are the current challenges you face whenever you discuss the issue of business with your peers?
Okay, as at now, I would say the most important or the most important challenge that we're facing right now is current price hike. There's always a constant price hike in the market. And because we source raw materials, so we have to keep on changing our prices. So there's like an instability in our prices for our customers.
But then the customers, do they still patronize you the way they do in the past?
Honestly, no. We have noticed a decline in our sales as compared to March. Yeah, we've noticed a decline since about June up until now. Yeah.
So now, when you look at situation that we are facing today, could that be as a result of the security threat that farmers are facing?
Yes,
or
of course.
could it be as a result of the possible Naira-dollar ratio?
All of that, yes.
They are all part
because when we go to the market, I mean, certain ingredients are imported. So, of course, there's that dollar rate, the increase, the instability, there's that.
Can you tell
and then,
us
of
more?
course, farmers are not producing as much as they used to because of security threats.
Can you tell us more about the business you are into? Because when you started the business, what were your aspirations?
I've always loved to cook, so it's more of a passion for me. For me, business should be about passion, not just for the money, because I feel like there are so many businesses that you can go into and you would make money, but you have to have a passion for it. If you're not passionate about it, you would not be able to withstand all the pressure and the challenges that you would face. So yes, I have always been passionate about that, and so I decided to go into it because of my passion.
But then how long have you been in this business of yours?
I've been into this business for about 4 years now. Yeah, I've been cooking for 4 years.
You've started
professionally.
Professionally,
yes.
Okay. So now, in the course of doing this business, in the last 4 years, you definitely know that we have issues with inflation, we have issues with the Naira-dollar rate, and your aspiration then definitely will be to expand the business. Do you still keep that in mind?
Of course I do. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? I do, yeah.
And you move forward with it?
Yes, I do.
How many staff have you been able to put out of work or put into work?
I do not have permanent staff. I have contract staff. You know, I call them when I have so much work or I have an event catering, then I call them over. But I don't have permanent staff.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes. Yeah,
Yes.
it makes. It's difficult sometimes to keep
Exactly.
people on board.
Because I don't have a place of my own, so it's difficult to have a staff all the time. Like, it's difficult to have an in-house staff because my business is home-based, you know. So I have staff. I call them when I have a lot of work, they come over, but not permanently.
Okay. Now, in doing this business, have you ever sought for grants or for funds to push the business forward?
Yes, there has been a time that somebody recommended or suggested that I apply for a loan. I cannot remember what loan exactly, but it was like government grant. It was not successful. So since then, I'm not positive about such loans. I'd rather just keep going with what I already have.
But if you look at the costs of doing business now, and you look at the inflation now, you know, the capital you use to invest in this business, and when you juxtapose that with the cost of the goods and services you get from the market, the value will reduce.
Yes.
And are you not bothered about how you can sustain this business in the future?
That's why I mentioned you have to move with the prices in the market. Because of the constant price hike, we don't have a stable price. We don't have a defined price. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Yes, I understand.
Because maybe, for example, I'm pricing a plate of jollof rice for 2,000, and then subsequently I go to the market and then tomatoes has increased, rice has increased. Obviously I have to increase my price to be able to meet up and balance, just so I don't run at a loss.
Okay.
And that, I think, is a challenge and is a problem for the customers because they are constantly being introduced to new prices. So yes, that's a challenge.
But then, when you look at all this, people still believe that despite this economic situation that we find ourselves, people are still making more money from business. And because when you look at the business, if you don't have enough capital now, you cannot sustain the business.
That's
So it gives room for lesser people in the market and reduces the competition.
Yes, that's
So
true.
are you making more profits than
I
when
used
you
to.
started?
No, I'm not. At the moment, I'm not.
So
At the
you're not
moment,
closing
I'm
the
not.
gap of where people are living
No.
in that same food chain.
No. I'm trying to meet up with my clients' needs, and I'm trying to also balance things such that I don't make my prices so high, and I also try to make it in such a way that I'm also not running at a loss. So it's quite tricky.
Now, in pushing business forward, sometimes people do seek for partnership, most especially when they face challenges. And
Yes.
sometimes some people even sell part of their business in order for them to still be in the market. Do you see yourself partnering with other people who you feel have enough money and to sustain your business and then to give it wider acceptance?
Yes. Okay. So, as an online vendor, there's something called like you said, partnership.
Yeah.
You do sponsored ads. You do collaborations. I have fellow vendors that I might want to collaborate with, such that we reach a wider outreach of audience. You know. So yes, there's that. But if you're talking about long-term investors at the moment, I'm not sure I'm open to that, because my business is still it's on a small scale. So I'm not sure if I'm open to a long-term investor.
But all through the time, I believe your business should be by now be registered for 4 years business, and getting funds shouldn't be a major problem when you have the SMED and Small Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria giving out loans. You have the Anchor Borrowers Program, so many federal government programs. Why are you not making enough effort to see that you get this loan to
Loans.
increase the capacity
Like I
of
said,
your
I have
business?
tried quite a number of times. Well, this should not be a reason, but I have tried quite a number of times and they were never successful. So I just felt like they were probably not legitimate. Or
They are
maybe they select based on, I don't know how they select,
Yes.
but I don't know.
And
I have
that's the
just
more
not been
reason I
lucky.
believe why you have to know, because the federal government have been able to give so much special intervention to businesses like yours, and for you not to even know the reason why you've not been given should be the more reason why you have to know why you've not been given. And in that process, definitely you can end up having something good. We've seen farmers making up to 3 million. We've seen those with 10 millions and the rest of it like that. So when you have issues like this, you are not having enough fund to expand the business, and you want to have staffs, and these staffs are temporary. You are trying to take people out of the labor market where they are seeking for job. So there should be that need for you to expand
Yeah,
the
of
business
course there's a
you are
need to
doing.
expand. Of course there's a need. I'm just trying to say that everything is a gradual process. But at the moment, I'm not seeking loans. Because
And you're not seeking partnership either.
of course I'm open to partnership.
Okay. For
Yes.
people to come and invest in your business.
Yes, I am. But not long term.
Okay. Because you
Yes.
still want to. Okay, I can understand now what Nana is saying. And, but then, when we look at issues like this, and because these are paramount issues that has to be looked at, most especially the rising cost of goods and services in the market,
Power supply is also one of that.
power supply.
Yes.
So how do you now manage the issue of power supply to make sure that, yes, your goods are still fresh?
Of course, you need to outsource because sometimes power isn't stable, right? And for us that are into food, you would have raw food that you want to freeze. So if you don't have light, if you don't have power supply, you would need to use a generator or an inverter to, keep your freezer running. So yes, you have to outsource.
Okay. So now what we'll do now, we'll go on a very short break, and we'll return back to continue with the conversation, because there are certain things that I would like you to answer so that those that are venturing into business these days will definitely know that, oh, you are going to face one or two challenges
yes, that's right.
before you can make it. So let's go on this short break.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite. This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television Star Times Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, and UHF Channel 38.
While we get to hear from the experienced mouth, it is pertinent that, yes, when you listen to people who have been in the field for some time, you find it easy to venture into their business, and you definitely will also gain one or two experience within the business, and then you having that knowledge from the experience will also guide you in making sure that you are successful in the business. So that is the more reason why Aisha is here this morning. Now, Nana Aisha, now looking at your current status, you go to the market every day, the cost of goods is increasing, and you also look at issues of transportation, the issue of power, and you did mention that you had to outsource, most especially the issue of power. But can you sustain this for the long time?
Yes, I think I can.
Okay.
I can sustain it, yes.
And how long do you think you can sustain this? Because the issue of energy or power that you use to fuel your business is very, very important, most especially in the food industry.
For some time now, power has been stable as for my location. So for my place, I don't know about other vendors, but where I am, the power is stable. So the few times that I'm out of power supply, I'm able to use the gem and, outsource. So
Okay.
it's not a problem at
Now,
the moment.
as an entrepreneur in the food chain business, do you get to organize conferences, summits, get together where you guys can rub mind and then discuss the challenges and how you can solve the challenges that are impending in your businesses?
Yes, I wouldn't say seminars, but maybe I attend seminars, but I have not been opportune to host one. But yes, we have a group of fellow vendors in the niche. Some people think that other vendors are their competition, but I don't see other vendors in my own industry as my competition, because I feel like you need them on your side. Like you said, to rub minds, you need them as allies and not as competition. So yes, it's important to be able to build a community of other vendors with similar interests, that you can rub minds and, share thoughts.
In 21st century, people do talk about technology, and
Yes.
technology is very, very important. We've seen small businesses coming up through online media.
Yes, social media is a
social media. So
big
now,
tool.
how has it helped you in this
Oh,
business?
it has helped me because my business is online. I advertise online. My business is staged online because I don't have like a restaurant. I'm home-based. So, of course, the media platforms help with advertisement and, visibility.
Okay. Now, in the visibility, the issue of, sometimes also there's this fear, most especially with the way things are being corrupted. And you make order online, and at some point, you don't even get it. Or what you ordered for seems to be a bit different.
Different from what was delivered.
Do customers complain this to you?
No. Fortunately, no. I have
Maybe
not
not
had
to,
that
in terms
problem.
of your own business, probably to
Other
in terms
businesses,
with respect to
yes.
other businesses.
I think it's important to build trust in customers such that they know what they're going for and they know that they can keep coming back. So yes, what you mentioned, maybe a first-time client ordering for the first time without knowing, maybe just randomly coming across my page, would be skeptical, and might not want to pay before, because I run like payment before service.
Okay.
I don't dispatch until I have received money for it, because customers can decide not to pay when it's been delivered. So yes, you have to build trust and assure them, But yes, some people, first-time customers, like I said, are very skeptical.
But then with the way people seem to be disturbed about so many social media handles regarding to entrepreneurship skills and then entrepreneurship services, and at the end of the day, the issue of trust comes in, because it seems like we're in a country where people also have the funds to do business, but the issue of getting trusted hands
And then
to
not
carry
a lot
along.
of people know how to do business.
Okay.
I say all the time that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. You might have a lot of money, but you might still not be a successful entrepreneur. You might not be.
Okay.
Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Some people are better off as working as 9 to 5, working as 9 to 5ers, not as entrepreneurs. Not everybody is capable to run as a business.
But how do you now manage this business you run at home with your other activities?
I think it's very important to have a solid support system. My family has been very supportive of me. I have friends who have been supportive as well. So yes, and then being strategic, of course you have to, and then balance is key. You have to balance out every other thing. And I always say that it's important to take rest, because if you don't take rest in between work, you would break down. And it has happened to me severally. So I know and I prioritize rest. I know when I need to take a break. I know when I need to calm down. I know when I need to take a step back, just so it does, because it gets very overwhelming, especially as a small business owner. You're doing everything, you're marketing, you're packaging, you're doing the work yourself. It's a lot. You're advertising, you're having one-on-one conversations with customers, and then there are dispatch riders who are a very big problem. They're a major problem. So yes, it's a lot. It's overwhelming.
So now, having dispatch rider as one of the problems you have you been able to provide a solution to that in the nearest future?
I'm thinking of getting my own bike. I think that would reduce, even though some people have said it doesn't totally, wipe it out, but I think it will reduce it at least to a bare minimum.
Okay. Now, what will you advise those young ones who are aspiring to be business owners and in the future?
I would say don't go into business unless you're passionate about it. Explore your niche. Don't just go into any random business just because you think the business is lucrative. You have to be passionate about it, because you're bound to face challenges. And if you're not passionate about it, it would crumble. You won't be able to sustain it. I've had so many people, and I've heard of, and I've seen so many people in 2020, that was lockdown, right? So many people were venturing into food business just because they thought, they think that food business is lucrative. But today, the business is no more because they were not passionate about it. They just went in for the money. So there are times that the money will not come in. What do? Would you not keep going? Of course, you'd keep going. So you have to be passionate about it to be able to withstand all the pressure that would come.
Yeah, I can imagine that post-COVID-19 era
Yes.
seemed to have really shown us the true color of those who really want to practice
Because food was
entrepreneurship.
like the food
Demand.
industry was like the major thing that was moving. Everybody, of course, you would eat. Nobody was going out, so you wouldn't necessarily buy clothes, but for food, you would definitely eat. So yes, it was something that a lot of people were venturing into, but could not sustain.
I can imagine the amount of money you make every day or every week, and definitely putting food on people's table is very, very important as Nigerians. We need food, most especially when you have a situation like this. The farmers couldn't go to farm, and then you don't also have the purchasing power. Food is one important thing you can't take out of the table.
Yes.
And doing business in Nigeria is very, very interesting,
Hectic.
very challenging. But then when you keep your head up, definitely you get to the pinnacle of it all. And that's how far we can go today on the roundtable. Thank you, Aisha Nana Tanku, for coming to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
We hope you won't face traffic issues next time.
Hopefully.
Okay, thank you so much. That's how far we can go. My name is Isa Nu. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.